Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. Today is May the 13th, and I am excited to be with you today to do the Just for Today in a meditation. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. Hood stands for Hope Offered on Demand. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and get into the reading and see what we have today. Onward on the journey. May 13th. The progression of recovery is a continuous uphill journey. Basic text, page 83. The longer we stay clean, the steeper and narrower our path seems to become. But God doesn't give us more than we can handle. No matter how difficult the road becomes, no matter how narrow, how winding the turns, there is hope. That hope lies in our spiritual progression. If we keep showing up at meetings and staying clean, life gets, well, different. The continual search for answers to life's ups and downs can lead us to question all aspects of our lives. Life isn't always pleasant. This is when we must turn to our higher power with even more faith. Sometimes all we can do is hold on tight, believing that things will get better. In time, our faith will produce understanding. We will begin to see the big picture of our lives. As our relationship with our higher power unfolds and deepens, acceptance becomes almost second nature. No matter what happens as we walk through recovery, we rely on our faith in a loving higher power and continue onward. Just for today, I accept that I don't have all the answers to life's questions. Nonetheless, I will have faith in the God of my understanding and continue on the journey of recovery. That is a very powerful reading. That is a very, very powerful reading. There's a couple of thoughts that come to mind when I look at this reading. It says the progression of recovery is a continuous uphill journey. There's a couple of things that come to mind. One is that our hope lies in our spiritual progression. Do you see that right there? Let me highlight it for you. Our hope lies in our spiritual progression. So it brings to mind that an individual has to have hope, and they have to have a spiritual journey, right? At some point in time, when you come into the program of Narcotics Anonymous, or you begin any new healthy venture, and I'm starting to broaden this out because I want to make sure that the people that are listening, that they understand that even though you may not personally be addicted to drugs, you are more than likely having some manifestations of addiction in some other area, some uneasiness, or as we say, dis-ease of the spirit in some other area. And it is causing you to have a schema that is allowing you to participate or do things that you normally would not do, or that you think is not healthy for you. Okay, so the person that comes and listens, and they're not drinking or using drugs, or they don't believe that they have a problem with that. They drink sociably, but right, you participate in sexual behavior that you know is not conducive to your health or your family's health, or you're a gambler, right? There's all these other manifestations of the disease of addiction. And we want to be very clear that just because maybe you are not using now does not mean that you won't. And so we have to run this thing, right? We have to run the playbook on the defense. We have to run the playbook on the defense. We have to run it from the point of view that whatever used to ail us may actually be trying to make a goal, right? They may be trying to make a touchdown or a home run. We have to look at it from it as though we're on the defense, and the opposite of that is the manifestation of your uneasiness or your disease of addiction. And so you have to have a strategy that is going to allow you to compensate or adjust depending on who's running the ball, right? Depending on what situation that you are going to come up against, you need to be prepared in order to adjust in the spiritual realm so that they don't make any further gains on you than they already have as of today. That today is the marker, right? Just for today. As of today, any gains that have been made against you, those need to cease. And the way that they cease is by you going into the spiritual realm and saying, now, I need to build my patience. I need to build my open-mindedness. I need to build my honesty. I need to build my willingness. I need to let go of resentments and anger, right? And fear. But instead, I need to have love, and I have to have forgiveness, and right? So all of these spiritual principles that you can get as a result of applying a program of recovery into your life, these are the things that you need on your team. These are the things that you need to be able to say when you're looking at the playbook. I need love right now. I need joy. I need happiness right now. I need forgiveness to go out. Right? I need forgiveness and love to go out and deal with this situation from my past that is trying to remind me of who I used to be. Right? Because the offense is now trying to make sure that you don't make any headway. Right? You need to make sure that whatever the negative team is, or whatever strategy they might want to bring against you, you need to make sure that you are in a position to defend yourself, defend your recovery, right? You have to be able to run the ball. You have to be able to run it. You don't let the opposing team run it. And when they running the ball and they think they're making headway against you, you need to be in a position where you can tackle that. You can take it down, right? No, I'm going to intercept that. You're not bringing negativity my way. You're not bringing resentment my way and thinking you're going to make headway today. You're not going to do it, right? Because I've come too far to go back. And that's where I believe that this just for today is very powerful. Our hope is in our spiritual progression. You have to be able to move. And if you're in a position where you're going through something today and you really can't move forward, you need to at least be able to defend the ground that you have, right? We're not taking no fumbles, right? We're not taking any interceptions. We're not taking any of that. You need to be able to defend the ground that you have already taken. So maybe today is not your best day, but we are not going backwards. We're not going to relapse spiritually. In our emotions, we're not going to relapse. We're going to stick and stay steady. We're going to hold this ground. Right? And our opposing forces that are trying to come against us and tell us to do something different, to go back to those old survival skills. I'm not really a sports person. So when I use these terminologies, I'm using them broadly, but I know enough to know that the team that I'm on is the winning team. And the team that the disease of addiction is on, the enemy, the devil, the whatever you want to call it, the dark forces, the basic text calls it the lower destructive power. I know for a fact that that's the opposing team. That's not my team. And anything that brings to me, I have to check it at the door. You don't come no further than this line. I have to check it at the door, because one thing I know for sure, like I told you last week, my recovery is my baby, and I'm very, very serious about taking care of my recovery. So anyone that wants to come to me and bring me, bad energy, bad memories, remind me of the things that I used to do and make fun of me in any kind of way, shame me, guilt trip me, any of that, I have to check you right in that moment. And it can come across abrupt sometimes, right? Like I may come off way more intense or serious than they were actually intending. But if I allow you to get even an inch into my spirit, you've taken too much territory. You're staying somewhere rent free because you're not going to pay the price that I have to pay for allowing you to take territory in my spirit. So we have to look at this. We have to look at it from a point of view that progression of recovery, yeah, it's a continuous uphill journey, but sometimes you just got to hold the ground, right? You just got to say, just for today, I'm not going to use, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to cheat, I'm not going to steal, and I'm not going to let anybody in my atmosphere that's want to bring any of those old things to me. I just need to chill out today. I need some rest today. I'm not really pressured about anything today. Nobody's paying my rent, right? I can do what I want to do with my day. And I am deciding today I'm going to just hold ground. I'm checking everything at the door. And when I get a little bit more juice spiritually, then I'll go out and tackle that next thing that's given for me to do. I was just listening to a lady say that she's a train operator on a job, and she's really struggling with keeping. She's been in training for about half a year, and she's really struggling with showing up and doing the job because she feels like she's not catching it fast enough. And at the end of her share, she said, what she said? She said, I never even asked God, the God of my understanding. I never even asked, is this the job for me? I just knew I needed to make some money. And I'm learning a very, very good lesson right now. So we don't want to move forward into stuff that is not for us to do. We want to move forward into the things that we know we're called to do and have been given grace to do. And unfortunately, if you're a person that's not spiritually inclined, or you don't have a higher power that you have a relationship with, or you're atheist or agnostic, you don't believe in prayer, you don't believe in a God or anything like that, you might be struggling with trying to sense if something is for you to do or not. So let me make it real simple for you, right? Let me make it real simple for you so that you can benefit from the principles of this program as well. Then let's call it GOD, good orderly direction. Let's use that acronym, GOD, as good orderly direction. The basic text tells us if it's not spiritual, if it's not practical, it's not spiritual, right? So with that in mind, if you have a different belief system, you still should be able to look at any given situation and see if it lines up with good orderly direction. Does this make sense? And if you can't determine that on your own, then you need someone in your life that you can invite in and say, tell me how, I just want to run this past you. I just want to run this past you. I'm interested in this guy. He's not in recovery. He thinks that he should be able to take me out for a nice evening, but he wants to take me to a place that really is like a bar and grill, but mostly bar. I'm interested in getting to know him, but I really am kind of apprehensive about putting myself in an atmosphere with someone I don't know, in an atmosphere that I normally don't go. Do you think that's a good idea? What I think is a good idea is, one, when you say he's not in recovery, does he use anything? Because if you're getting ready to invite someone into your day-to-day life that uses substances that you don't use at all because they're not an addict, that might not be a good idea, because eventually they're going to be in your atmosphere under the influence, and you got to figure out what you're going to do when they're under the influence and it causes you a trigger. The other thing I would say, why can't you go to the park? Why can't you do something different? I mean, there's plenty of restaurants that aren't considered more bar than grill. right? And if you start making these compromises with people you don't know, when you do get to know them, how many more sacrifices or compromises will you make? See? So regardless of whether or not you have a God, good orderly direction will say that's not in your best interest. Why do it? And if you do it anyway, then you're playing with fire. And when the consequences hit you of having to break up with someone that doesn't respect your recovery, now you're gonna blame that on God? I thought you didn't believe in God. Okay, blame it on yourself because you made that poor decision, right? So there's so many areas when we talk about spiritual progression that it's hard to just like breeze through this particular just for today. I can't even, I mean, like I'm just still in the first paragraph, right? There's so much to this. And I just want to say that even though it is an uphill journey, and spirituality is kind of like you build upon one foundation, then you add something else, and then you add something else. It does not have to be accomplished overnight, but what you do need to have is a familiarity with spiritual principles so that as things come up, even though you may not be on step 8 and 9, as things come up, you do have a good idea that step 1 is about honesty and surrendering, right? Surrendering. And you can apply powerlessness not just over drugs, but you can apply it over people, places, and things. Because truly, that's probably where your disease of addiction and using drugs got root. It got root with people, places, and things because that's basic life and your emotions attached to those situations, right? And trying to cope. Your coping skills were poor because you chose these drugs or people, places, and things to overcome whatever emotion that you had. Now you have a new way of living, right? And it is in your best interest to use just the most simplistic spiritual principles that you have already gathered. You can still use them in very intense situations to get you through without compromising any ground. I hope I brought that full circle to you. I'm very hesitant to even go. I may actually have to come back and do a part 2, a part 3 on this, because there is so much to this. Yes, life is not going to be easy, but we must turn to our higher power with even more faith. If you don't have a lot of faith, this is for you. This, like, you need more faith. And faith is sometimes just facing everything and recovering. It's not this big, oh, I'm down, bow down and worship, right? It's not that. It's not that sort of adoration. It's the ability to apply it practically in your life. That so far things have worked out pretty good for you since you've been in recovery. And they're probably going to continue to do that if you continue to recover. And so say, for instance, newcomer come to the meetings, they making meetings, they're in drug court, they got a charge against them, right? And the court date is coming up. Well, you've been in drug court, you're doing good, you're showing up, getting your meeting slip signed. And now here comes the court date, and you want to skip court? You want to just not show up? Even though you were released on your own recognizance, now you want to not show up to court because you have a lot of fear that you might get locked up. You've been doing this for a minute. You've been coming back, keep coming back, not picking up for a minute. Getting your slip signed, showing up to drug court. Why buck now? Just a little more faith. Just a little bit more faith. And if you don't show up, you're going to continue to run until they catch you, right? And you probably, by the time they catch you, will have drugs in your system, because that's what fear does. It causes us to figure out what we can use to calm ourselves down, And so we just don't have to repeat the past. It is an uphill journey, but every day is not an uphill journey. Every day doesn't mean that you have to like just knock it out the park. Some days you're not going to knock it out the park, but you're not going to give the park up, right? You're not going to leave the play field, right? You're not going to abandon ship. You just hold ground just for the day until you have what you need to move forward on the spiritual journey. Maybe it's new experiences, maybe it's new input from other people. Uh, I'm not sure what will be the catalyst for an individual to move forward on this journey, but it is a journey of recovery, and you can pause. You can pause long as when you're in the pause, you're not giving up ground, right? Pause doesn't mean allowing people to back you up into a corner that you can't get out of clean. I hope I made that really plain for you. Like I said, there just seems like there's so much in here. Um, and I just want to make sure that you understand that even on the journey onward in recovery, there may be times where you have to not act, not speak, not make a move, but that doesn't mean that you play dead either, right? You don't allow people to take ground, take territory. You still have to protect the ball, right? So I just want to leave you with that. My name is Mighty Stream. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. I hope that even though I stayed on the Just for Today screen for a while, I hope that is not irritating for you. It is for me sometimes. But I think that I need to just sit right there so that you can kind of sort through what I'm talking about on your own. So I just want to tell you that I will be in touch with you tomorrow. I will be doing these readings over the weekend, and I hope to get them done earlier in the day for you. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful weekend. Talk to you tomorrow.